Hi, gorgeous. Hi, everyone. My name is Tammy Gerke. I am an artist, a mentor, and motivational speaker. You can find me at a couple of ventures everywhere, website, Facebook, YouTube. And this is Creative Innovators Interview. And today I am so super excited. I have one of my favorite artists. We have Claudia Olivos of Olivos Art Studio. Claudia, tell us who you are. Tell us about yourself. Tell us what you do.
All right. Well, hi, everybody out there on YouTube and Periscope and anywhere else that may be listening. My name is Claudia Olivos, or Claudia Olivos, with Olivos Art Studio. I am a painter. My partner is also a painter, and we share a studio in Washington, D.C., but I am, as of now, also
Oh, I think we froze. No. Let's wait a minute and see if we come back.
Tammy.
Yeah, we hear you. Now we hear you. It's okay. You froze just for a minute. You're good. Go ahead. Keep going.
Okay. So I don't know if you heard that our studio is in Washington, D.C. However, I also am preparing to set up a part-time studio here in Chile. So for me personally, to get away from winter, it's my dream. And so I'm really blessed to be able to finally announcing it unofficially. And but yeah, very excited to be able to come here and work as an artist. Of course, I'm still selling in the U.S. primarily.
That is awesome. I didn't know that's what you were doing. That is absolutely fantastic to have a getaway, especially someplace like Chile. It's gorgeous, absolutely beautiful.
Yes. It's been a dream for a long, long time.
So tell me, Claudia, what's you said painting. Is that your favorite creative outlet? Have you tried anything else?
Well, for me, my painting is not a creative outlet. My painting is who I am. I'm an artist. So for creative outlets, probably cooking is my creative outlet. Doodling is maybe another creative outlet, but my painting is just, it's my everything. Can't call it an outlet because it's oftentimes not an outlet, because it's my job, it's my passion, it's who I am. And so it's an outlet is something that it helps you sort of, expand and move through. And I think for me, it doesn't often work like that, specifically with painting, but there's so many different ways that we can be creative and have outlets.
So how long have you been painting? This has been something that you've done all your life? Has it been encouraged when you were a kid? What was your child like with your art?
My dad was an artist, although he was a diplomat for work, but he was an artist. So I grew up around painting. I drew before I could walk. I didn't actually paint until I was a freshman in college, but I drew a lot, And when I was 5 and 6 years old, living here in Chile, I just realized I've been an entrepreneur all my life, although as an artist, you don't really feel that. But at 5 and 6, I was going door to door selling Christmas cards. So, that I'd made myself with glitter and all that.
That is absolutely cool. That is so awesome. I mean, we hear about, selling lemonade and, doing the little stands, but Christmas cards door to door, that's so cool. Especially ones that you made. That's cool. I love that.
Yeah. I remember my huge set of Prismacolor. Since my dad was an artist, I would get like the best materials and putting globs of glue and glitter. They couldn't even go in envelopes, they were like caked on, and people bought them.
Heck yeah, I would have bought one.
Right, I would too. So the encouragement really came through osmosis, it just And then when I moved to the US, when I was 17, I was invited to join a co-op gallery in Virginia. And I was the youngest there. And so that was really neat, you know, to be in a real gallery. And then from there, just, you know, it just kind of has always gone forward.
Have you always gone with your heart? Have you always, like, when it came to your work and putting your art out there, did you always go with your heart, or did you go with, you know, do you have people who were helping you? This is what you need to do. This is who you need to call. You know, this
Oh,
is
no,
what you
no,
need.
none of that, you know. Yeah, just going with your heart. I mean, I get emails all the time from people to ask me for advice, and that's really the only advice is go with your heart, and you'll make mistakes. I mean, I went through a very dark personal period, um, and I shared a lot openly. I've closed down a lot of those. I had a blog and a lot of things that I shared very openly, and at that time, my art, like, I was able to keep going, but my art didn't. My art was awful for about 3 years. But it's, you know, but it's still, it's work from your heart, and that's so important. And in that way, it was an outlet. See, for 3 years, I did use my art as an outlet, which where I didn't have a critical eye because I was in so much pain. So, and then when I started to come out of it, I realized, ooh, I created a lot of really, really crappy work, but it was good. So I did, you know, and I have an undergrad in psychology. I have a certificate in art therapy, and I have a master's in painting. So even though I have all that, it means nothing when it applies to you, right? None of all that goes out because it's you. All that goes out the window. And so it's interesting, but definitely follow your heart, no matter what happens.
And I think when you go through a dark period like that, the art can be cathartic. And even though it may not seem like it's any good, it's good in the sense that it's helping you to heal. It's good in the sense that
Yeah,
it's helping you work your way through that. And like you said, that is, at that time, it is an outlet. It's not your profession. It's not, you know, your income. It is your outlet to help you get through that. Yeah.
yes, and it had at that time I was using my art therapy, so I ran a few online groups where I still want to continue that, but I was doing it from a different space, and so I was doing a lot of workshops for women, going through um, similar things. A lot of the same women that you're getting to know with Leonie Dawson's, because I was in her thing 4 years ago,
Mhm.
and I met a lot of women.
You froze again. You froze again. A lot of women that we met, that's okay. A lot of women that I'm meeting through Leonie Dawson. And if you don't know Leonie Dawson and the Shining Academy, if you type in theshiningacademy.com, you'll find Leonie Dawson. Absolutely phenomenal woman. But you're a part of that group. I think that's where I actually, no, I met you before then. But, and then I saw you in there. So that's a lot of the people that you were connecting with.
Well, that was like 4 years ago. So that was way before we met.
Okay. So then it was after. Oh, froze again. Claudia, are you
I'm
getting that?
back.
No, you're back. I know it keeps freezing. It's okay. We can keep going.
Yes.
So continue
So
4 years ago. I'm sorry.
um, I'm not sure where I froze.
You were talking about 4 years ago going through Leona Dawson's and working with the workshops and
Oh,
reading that.
yes, yes. It wasn't through her really. It was really through Facebook and several different type of women that were or similar women to what I was going through, same age groups and blah, blah. And Leonie Dawson, and they were, you know, it's like attracts like, right? So I was very involved in that, and it was a great community to be a part of at that time. Yeah, for sure.
So what are your sources of inspiration now? Where do you gain your inspiration? Would you outside in nature, in people around you? I know you paint a lot of people, and I love your work. It's so cool.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I
So
appreciate
where do
that.
you find your inspiration?
Uh, Life, you know, it's really just living. It used to be a lot from books when I was younger. And then as I got older, it's just life.
Awesome. So just everywhere, anywhere, everywhere that you are, you just, that's
Yes,
awesome.
absolutely. Mm-hmm.
So we all have trouble with the motivation, focus, you know, trying to get ourselves into doing this. You do this as your profession, as an artist, full time. For those who are, you know, kind of just getting started and feel like they're getting themselves detoured, do you have any advice as far as like keeping themselves focused, keeping themselves motivated, keeping themselves going on the path of being the artist that they want to be, not letting life detour them?
Well, honestly, I don't feel that you should make yourself be motivated. I feel that if you don't feel like doing it, do whatever you feel like doing. You know, do what makes you, fills you with.
I agree.
Art
I
should
agree.
be just, yeah, art should just come. And there's art in so many different things, you know, making a hole in the sand and, you know, putting little seashells around it. Cooking, they're all forms of art. And I think that if we begin to worry that we're not doing what we need to be doing and we're not being the artist we want to, it just goes totally against what an artist is supposed to be, you
I think
know?
that takes us back to the doing and going with your heart, going with what
Yes,
feels good,
yes,
regardless. Yep.
yes, absolutely.
So,
Mhm.
did you ever have a time in your life where you weren't sure about sharing your work? Or obviously, you started at 5 sharing your work, so it seemed like it's a natural thing. Was there ever a time when you just were not comfortable with sharing your work, or has it always been something you
Yes.
just decided you wanted to do?
Well, I think that my most uncomfortable time as an artist came just, you know, very, maybe a year ago. Like I said, I went through a very difficult time that had to do with my family of origin. And I really, I think that it was, nobody really understood how bad it was, not even I did. And as I began to heal from that, and I saw the artwork that I had been producing, as a result of many things. It was a result of teaching journaling to people that were doing it just for healing and not focusing on the art. You know, I also couldn't work with oils, which is my forte. I was working with acrylics, and and it was awful. I mean, I was depressed last winter, so 2016 is when it really hit me. And I'm sorry, 2015 is when it really hit me. And so, yeah, I burned a lot of art. I burned a lot. Yeah.
But
So,
me as an artist as well, I'm thinking, oh my God, she burned art. But at the same time, I understand that because I did the same thing. I did. How, for someone who doesn't understand, how did that make you feel? Burning
how
that
does it
work.
make me feel?
How did it make you feel burning that work?
Oh, there was such an urgency to burn it. You know, it was, well, I was, the act of burning the art was meaningless. The thing that was tough was realizing that I had that I was looking at work that I had done when I was 17 that was better art than what I had spent, you know, a long time making, and that people had bought it. I don't know if you heard that last part that I said.
That people bought it was the last thing
Right.
that I heard.
Yeah. So people bought it. That was the hard part for me. Or even now.
Are you there? So I'm wondering if it was difficult for you because they bought a piece of work that you weren't happy with.
Yes.
And do you think the reason, I mean, for me, I would think as an outsider, I'm thinking the reason they bought it is because they saw something in it that reflected and spoke to them. And
Well,
you know, because you put your heart and
exactly.
soul into work. So
Exactly. I came to that realization, you know, later. But at first, when the panic,
panic set in and you're upset that someone's buying a piece of work that you're not happy with. It's kind of scary. Not scary. Upsetting. So is that upsetting that they bought that? Now you understand it, but at that time, how was it?
at that time, it was very upsetting. It took me, but it was winter 2015. So it took me, I mean, by spring, I was fine with it. But, you know, we had the wood stove going in the studio, and I was like a maniac, you know? Yeah. But I understood that later. Other people like yourself, thank you, um, were able to reflect that to me. And then I was able to, you know, to see it from an outsider view, and that it has helped. And yeah.
It seems it's when you're in the middle of it, when you're in the middle of that crazy, you're in the middle of that emotion, it's very hard for you to, you know, kind of step back from yourself and say, oh my God, you know, I get that this is a growing process that I'm learning. But we have to understand that we all go through it. We all go through it in different phases. We all go through it at different periods in our life. But we all go through it. And having someone that we can speak to, having someone that we can throw this other artists that can understand what we've gone through makes it, makes it easier for us to deal with. It really does kind of put it back into you and say, you're doing this because you need it, not just because you feel like being destructive. It's something that
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So what kind of advice would you give someone who maybe doesn't feel that they're creative, or maybe who I've talked to? I've heard so many people say that they're not creative, and I've heard so many people say that, you know, oh, I was creative when I was a kid and I'm not creative anymore. To me,
Right.
it's ridiculous. But what kind of advice would you give
Yes.
someone that tells you that?
Get a blank. Okay, I'm back. Yes. Can you hear me? Okay. So my suggestion is to always get like a blank drawing pad and as many exciting pencils and markers, and just play. Just play like a child every day, you know, one page. Again, only if you're motivated though. Like if it's something you're looking forward to doing. Oh, there's my page. You know, even it's different than if you're a student. If you're a student, I would tell you something different, right? But if you're just doing it for you, you know, it could be and you. So I was saying it could be anything for the day, like going for a walk and finding a leaf that you like that you place in that paper. It could be, you know, something pretty that you saw unwrapping at a candy or a restaurant.
I collect those things. My husband thinks I'm crazy, but like the pretty paper on the outside of like candies,
Yeah.
like foils and those kind of things.
Yes. Yeah.
It
So
doesn't.
anything that the moment, whether it's just making a mark or, you know, appreciating something.
Right. And as you said, being creative is not, it's not just painting. People are so stuck in the thought that for you to be creative, you have to paint, you have to write, you have to um, make music. Creativity is so much more than that.
Yeah, or people think it has to be something formal, and it can be just, you know, doodle. Like I'll show you my phone, see where I've doodled on it. You know, just while on the phone. That's creativity. And just because it's not on a canvas and it's on my phone doesn't mean it's any, you know, that's more creative than a landscape,
Yep.
right?
I love that you've done that. Mine inside is so boring, and I am like, God, I gotta put something in there. I like that's an awesome idea.
Yeah. See, then that's creativity. So
That's
in any way.
So it makes it confusing to me that people think they're not creative, you know. And what about those that, because you're already in a successful, as in you've got a studio where you're selling your art, you're now you, which I'm so thrilled for you, creating another studio down in Chile. It's like, oh, that's just awesome. Well, Roy and I are gonna have to come visit. That's just all there is to it.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. So what are your suggestions or your thoughts for someone who's like a little behind you, kind of getting to where they're starting to, you know, get into business and selling their work and wanting to open a studio? What kind of thoughts or suggestions or advice would you give someone who's at that stage?
Just do it. You know, just do it. Just start. Even if it's a little corner in your room or your kitchen that you set up, just do it, you know? And if you, sorry, it's like so hot here, I'm sweating. And if you want to start selling, Etsy. I mean, that's so easy. Set up a store in Etsy. It's so easy to do
Yeah,
either one.
you don't have to start selling your work in a big studio. You know, that
No,
it's kind of like old school mentality now. It really is. Now there's so with the social media, with, you know, online access just about everywhere, you can share your work with the world and not even have your work out in the world. It's
you
pretty
can live
amazing.
in another country from where you
Yes,
sell your work.
yes,
Yes.
little dance, little dance.
Yes, yes. I'm so grateful. You know, I'm so grateful to my collectors and to the universe. You know, but it really is just follow your passion, follow your joy, and just do it. You know, it's love is the opposite of fear, right? And we know there's fear in many times in sharing our work and putting it out there. So you just got to shoot for love, and you know, start by loving yourself, love what you do, and do it.
I love that. So two more questions. What are your, this seems almost like a rhetorical question, but what are your thoughts about the idea of artists and being artistically creative not being the way to succeed in the world?
I'm sorry, I didn't get that last part.
What are your thoughts about being a creative or an artist and being able to succeed in the world and being a way to, we have so many people who are told to go get a real job instead of following their passion, instead of following their art, following their creative flow. What do you say about that? What are your thoughts on that? I think you froze again.
I still didn't hear the question.
Did you hear me?
No,
You're,
you cut
okay.
off.
That's
Or I
okay.
cut off.
That's okay. What are your thoughts on the idea that being an artist is not the way to succeed in the world? That you have to go get a real job
You know
instead of
what?
creative or being an artist. What are your thoughts? Because I have so many people who are like, oh, I have to go get a real job. Be the artist. If you
Yeah.
need something part-time in the meantime, I get that. That's perfectly okay. But
Right.
your passion, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, to be a full-time artist, I can tell you my what I did. I did work full-time um, as an art professor for a while, and I worked part-time as an art professor. And it's only now that I can, do it full-time. So there is a process, and you trust it. But I mean, maybe if I had trusted it more, I would have been able to be full-time a long time ago. So I don't think that there's a recipe. I think you just have to, I mean, I'm sure that I had a lot of ingrained social and societal fears. I mean, my dad told me, he said, I'll pay for your art degree, but first you have to get a real one. He was a diplomat and an artist, see? He had studied law.
So that's a little bit difficult. A real one, not your art degree, a real degree, and then your art degree.
Yeah, but I don't think that's, necessary. I think that there could be someone right now who believes enough in it, and like I did now. Maybe if I still would have been in fear, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. I had to just do it now. It
Step
is
out.
very new. Yeah, that's why I haven't even announced it on Facebook and or anything. It's because it's very new. It's my baby. But just do it. And
Yeah. It is. It's kind of frightening, but once you start getting into it and once you start moving forward and it starts rolling, that momentum starts going.
exactly.
You can start taking
Yeah.
those deeper breaths and feeling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, last question, and then I know you have a little bit of your artwork, and if you want to see
Oh,
more
wait. I'm sorry, because I wanted to answer another question that you had about people believing that you can't make it as an artist. Those people are everywhere. When here in Chile, people actually look poorly at artists. And a friend of mine told me 2 years ago, I didn't know that. I was coming here as a tourist, but now that I'm moving in some more as a tourist, um, someone told it to my face. They said, do you know that here in Chile, this is someone who I'm sure cares about me and meant well, but he said, that here all artists are seen as vagrants. They're bums, basically. I mean, he said it just right to my face, and
So even as a successful artist, you still have to fight against that, not fight. You still have to contend with that
yes,
outside voice of people saying that you aren't good enough.
that's why my suggestion is, and I'm not even going to put this video on YouTube because um, because one of the things I'm learning is keep your dreams close to your heart
You have to hold tight to them.
so that people
There are
won't piss on them. Sorry.
no, you're fine. Because trust me, that's what I want. And I'm glad that you said that, and I'm glad that you shared that with me because that is exactly why I'm doing this. This is exactly why I'm doing these interviews because I know what it feels like. I know what it feels like to want to start to be an artist, to want to become an artist, to want to share my work, to want to have that be my life after a whole life of doing for everybody else, doing what I should be doing, and not being the artist. Because, I had to hold that so tight because people were saying, oh, you have to have a real job, or you have, and me listening to it. And now realizing that you don't have to listen to that. So coming from you, that really is something that I really admire. I really admire the strength. I admire the strength is the word that just sticks in my mind, to be able, because you have to be strong in yourself to be able to hold that passion and that goal and that dream close to your heart, to not allow all the bullshit around you to get in your way.
Yeah.
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 So
So
I thank you so much for
choose who
sharing
you
that.
share with.
Yeah. And if you share with someone and they don't have the response that you want, you like, you have the choice to not let that into your heart and let that into your dream. You have that choice. So what, I know you're kind of frozen. Hopefully you can hear me. Are you, you're back.
Yeah, I'm
So
back.
what kind of, I know this last question is kind of like a loaded question, but what kind of legacy do you want to leave the world?
You know, I think for every artist, we want our art to be our legacy, right? So for sure that, you know, for sure my art as a legacy, number one. I don't know where that comes from. I used to have long discussions with a friend of mine who's a published poet, and why do we have this need to share our art? Why do we have this need for people to own our art? Because, you know, I don't remember who said it. I don't remember. I think it was, I don't remember which artist said it, but art without an audience is not art. But yet I have friends that don't exhibit their art, and they're artists. So I don't really buy that either. Understand is that I've rarely do you meet, well, I've never met an artist, even this friend of mine who's like my godmother, and she's a good artist. She exhibits, but she doesn't sell anything, and she hardly exhibits. But she still wants people to see her art. And so as artists, we have this innate need to share.
I think the reason we want to share our art is because we want ourselves to be out there. We're being vulnerable. We're allowing our souls to be exposed. Sorry, you cut off. And I just wanted to add, I think the reason why we want to share our art is because we are allowing ourselves to be vulnerable, to show that piece of our soul to the world, kind of like giving other people permission to do the same thing, is the way I see it.
There's probably, you know, we could probably all come up with all kinds of different reasons, but it's basically just our humanity, and it's just part of a singer, you know, a writer, you know, a chef gets so much joy in making a good meal. I like to cook. I get so much joy, you know, from making something that's going to please. When I make dinner, for me, it's like an avocado and a piece of cheese, but then I like, you know, like all this stuff for other people. So we have this, and it's a beautiful thing to share what we create. And so, yeah, so that would be my legacy. And in addition to that, it's an honor to me that I can help people through my art. That's not just, it's just not for, you know, beauty's sake or decorative sake. And, you know, it's probably a topic for another show, but I do channel through my art sometimes. Not all my pieces are channeled, but a lot of them are channeled. And that's not something that I sought out. It just found me. And so that's kind of cool. And it's really neat to know that that it has like an energy that's separate, that, you know, that's powerful, you know. So a lot of people have my art in their healing rooms, and they tell me stories. And I'm not Catholic anymore, but I paint saints, and they have, you know, their energy, and that's really cool, you know. And I'm just a vessel with that. So that would be my second type of legacy. See, so I have a lot that I want.
Yeah, and that, I love that though, that because that's the way I feel too, is that, you know, people ask me, like this painting back here, people ask me, well, how did you do that? I have no idea. It just came out. And when you try and explain that to people, they're like, what? It's just something that we do, and when we can share it with people, And you know, people buy your art and they feel that energy, and they
Mhm.
feel that, you know, that love that you put in. It's so absolutely true when it comes to creating your meals. If you create a
Yeah.
meal and you're in a great mood and you've got music on, you're dancing, and there's love in that meal, it tastes completely different than if you do the exact same thing, doing the exact same ingredients, and you're feeling like crap. They
Yep.
taste completely different. It's the same thing with artwork. You could paint the exact same picture, but if you're feeling like crap when you paint the one, that energy comes through and it shows. And that's what we allow the world and, you know, everyone else to see, is that energy that we've put into it. And I love that that's what you want to leave as a legacy, because that's what I feel. That's what I feel is like the best thing of everything. Claudia,
Mhm.
I had so much fun. Thank you so very
Well,
much for
thank
doing
you.
this.
Thank you.
I am so excited for you and your studio in Chile.
I know.
It's
I know. I'll be periscoping once I have, more of an idea well, I'm going to start looking. I have two studios that I'll be having.
this is going to be so much fun. Thank you
Yeah.
so very much for doing this with me.
Well,
Um,
thank you so much. Thank you.
so, guys, this is Tammy and Claudia at Creative Innovators Interviews, and I'm going to be signing out. Thank you very much. Hope you had fun. Bye.